Patient. Hi Gemini, welcome to your February 2018 reading. I just finished Taurus and it was a bit of a roller coaster. So today we are just going to be doing your general reading for the month, and I like to focus my readings on your kind of the general energetic climate that is surrounding you this month, and kind of how just advice that's going to kind of get you through the ups and downs, and any kind of issues that you may face during the month. So I don't really say that it's like focused on love or focused on career, anything like that, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of you out there, and some may be in relationships, some may be single, you may be young, old, working, going to school. It doesn't really matter. What matters is, as a collective energy, we all kind of face similar things. We have a common thread, and that's what connects us all. So I'm just going to be looking at February and what that's kind of bringing in for you. And I hope that whatever comes up is like you're able to just get some advice out of it. We all, like I said, have very different things going on, but at the end of the day, I think we can find like a common thread that runs throughout the month. Okay, so let me just take a second. We're going to use clear quartz for you today. I just feel like it's a clear quartz day for you. And all right, let's talk about February 2018. I think I am, for some of the readings I've been doing, oracle cards first. Other times I'm doing it after. I don't think I'm going to do them yet. All right, let's get this reading started. Your energy feels so much calmer than Taurus. Taurus has a lot going on. And definitely, if you're a Gemini, but you really identify with your moon or rising sign, there's nothing wrong with going ahead and watching those too. You may find a message in any of those videos that you need. And this is the first of, a series. I want to really continue doing these readings every month. So please subscribe and let me know what you think. I love to hear feedback. I have been reading tarot for others professionally for like a little while now. So we do have an Etsy page, and if you would like to buy a reading, I can either do FaceTime, I can do a pre-recorded video reading, or I can even write an email reading to you. So you can order those on my Etsy page. So I'm like feeling a very traditional way of doing the cards. I wasn't feeling this for the other people, but let's just start out like this. Okay, so your first card is the Seven of Pentacles. So there is kind of that feeling of waiting. There's a feeling that you you guys in February have really begun, I guess in this year, let's say January, you've kind of been planting those seeds. And right now you're just kind of like waiting. You're waiting for things to grow. You know that like this is the time where you're investing in the future. Okay, yeah, and next we have the Six of Pentacles. So I think when I say investing, I also mean that you may be kind of sacrificing, maybe like pulling back your finances just a little tiny bit to kind of invest and save, save for the future. I feel like some of you guys may be saving up for a trip in June maybe. I mean, I know that's very specific, or even a wedding. I think some of you might be wanting to save up to get married. But there is this sense of kind of like deciding where you want to put your money. And I feel like that's a change for some of you guys, because Geminis, you guys tend to be like a little impulsive. I have Gemini in my chart, and I feel like you like being like when you have air in your chart, you just tend to kind of like just be a little impulsive, and you know, maybe saving doesn't come naturally to you, and like you're kind of making that grown-up decision, like, okay, I'm going to actually like think about where I'm putting my money, because I know that like there's something that's like really important to me that I want to invest in, and I want to like, I just, you know, it's important to me. Yeah. So, okay, so we have the Five of Swords. So, this is about winning a short-term battle. So I feel like this may be about, so once again, Geminis, they have a way with words. Like I said, air signs, you guys, like, I'm a Libra, so I really understand, like, air, if that makes sense. I need to put my glasses back on. Sorry, I took my glasses off because my head was really hurting, but I really do need them, so they're going back on. All right, you guys, I'm sorry. I have to... Okay. Hey guys, I'm so sorry. My camera has been giving me so much issues, so we're downgrading quality a tiny bit, but you know what? Who cares? Tarot is tarot. You guys don't even really need to watch me while I'm doing this. Like, you can listen. I won't take it personal. The important thing is that I can just give you guys a message that needs to be given to you. So, sorry you have to rough it with me, Gemini, but my camera has gone from being like, oh, I'm overheating, to, oh, the battery's low. So, laptop it is. And I'm really hating how my hair looks purple in this light, because it is so not purple. It's like blue. Whatever. Guys, your energy is like so light and clear. I feel like February for you, it it's gonna sound funny. It feels like it's almost like a breath of fresh air. Like, I feel like you guys enjoy the winter time in a way, or like, I think you almost enjoy the fact that there's like not a lot going on. Like, you kind of have that like freedom to just kind of do what you want, be spontaneous. You're not tied down by commitments or plans, and you can just kind of like do whatever your little heart desires. So, you have a very optimistic kind of view going into February, and I feel, you know, very grounded, very clear, and very just like open to possibilities. So I think that like February has some like great energy for you. Um, the first three cards that I pulled are, you know, they're minor arcana cards. I feel like they're just kind of telling me what you guys are feeling like going into this month. I think that like I said, you're focusing on investing, which is something new for you. I think that you are thinking a little bit. We have the Five of Swords, and that's typically about kind of like, I feel like this has to do with winning a battle of wits, or a battle of words, let's say. You know, Gemini, you guys are air people, and I feel like at the end of the day, like, you guys can really argue, or even not even that, you can just like maybe like say that one thing that you know will get to that person. And this kind of feels like a separate train of thought, but you know, I do kind of feel like you won a short-term battle that you may not be feeling too proud of. And so, you know, the Six of Pentacles is like really talking, I feel like it's kind of talking about weights and measures. It's talking about like giving and taking, and I feel like um in some way maybe you're like investing in yourself, and then in other ways maybe you kind of are almost feeling guilty about that same thing. Like, are you taking away from something else, you know? And that could be like totally misplaced guilt. Like, it could be like, oh my gosh, like, I used to be so generous and like buy all these people presents, you know, just because I had the extra money and I just like wanted to be super generous. And then when you take like those things away that like really the other people like didn't work for, they didn't deserve, you could like subconsciously start feeling guilty about it, because like, you know, they're like, what, you like always let me borrow money for you, and like, why are you suddenly taking that away? And you're like, why do I feel bad for not like giving you something that was never yours? So that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. And like, I think you just have to kind of like let your mind like be okay with the fact that like you don't owe anyone anything, and like just like be okay with like you and what you have, and like that you deserve whatever it is that you're investing in yourself. So these just kind of feel like situational. It feels like the energy that you're kind of bringing into February. So I think we're going to try to move into like the second week of the month and see like where that gets us. Yeah, let's see. Okay, Gemini. Not getting any jumpers. Oops. Okay, so we have the Eight of Pentacles. We have here's the Eight of Pentacles. And then we have the Queen of Wands. And we have the Emperor. So all of these cards are kind of alluding to the same thing. I feel like this month is really about waiting something out. You guys have your like eyes set on a horizon, but it is off in the future. I would say probably a couple months. And it's like, I'm not saying that this month isn't going to be eventful. I'm just saying that this kind of feels like a waiting game. It feels like the right thing to do is to not make a move. So I feel like if you do have a decision that needs to be made and you're deciding whether or not you should take action, I think you need to like sit this one out. The Eight of Pentacles is all about putting in the work, the daily grind, you know, really focusing on the task at hand, and, you know, really actually, you know, enjoying that, enjoying the labor, you know, like just sitting in that energy of work. And as air signs, that can be hard for us to do. You know, because I think that it's easy for like air signs for their minds to go in like a million directions, and you're like, oh, I want to do this, and I want to go here, and I want to do that, and I like this is my goal, and da 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 da. And it's hard to just like ground and like center yourself and be like, okay, I need to just like focus here, be 100% present and in the moment. So I think that's kind of like what this message here is starting to develop into. Like the Emperor is a very grounded energy. He, you know, it could represent an Aries, sure. This could be an Aries in your life, but I kind of see this more as like this is an energy that you yourself really need to work on embodying this month. Like you need to center, you need to focus, you need to sit and wait and just wait for the right time, you know, for things to develop. Don't get impatient. Don't start like trying to do 100 million other things. February is a time to relax and just, you know, let the work like come to you and just get it done. The World did come up next. And I think that this is kind of like showing a decision. I think this is also the completion of a cycle. So I think that ultimately what, you know, the goal or task at hand that you are kind of, you have in the forefront of your mind. So I do feel like I see the world often as different options or different like aspects, like things that you kind of are deciding between, like a big choice that kind of comes at the end of a life cycle. I just pulled the Chariot, which could be a Cancer. So I think for some of you, like we have an Aries and a Cancer here. That you may feel like you have to kind of decide between. This feels like female Geminis, okay? It could be male, but I feel like you female Geminis who may have a question about love, this is kind of coming up for you as like a second storyline, if you will. Like I said, you know, because I'm reading for a collective group of people, there's a chance that like these cards could have multiple interpretations, or they just could be talking about, you could be thinking about different aspects of your life. You could be working really hard at work and then also juggling, two people that you're dating. Like, who knows? But I do feel like the Cancer and possibly the Aries, they may have like a role to play in like the life choice that you are making at this point. I do kind of feel like there isn't like a positive or negative feeling towards either. I feel like you feel very like, let's just dive right into this. So for those of you that this does apply to, I do feel like the Aries person in your life, you feel very non-committal, like you kind of don't have an emotional attachment to them, but like you do kind of feel like connected to them for some other reason, like whether or not it's because you're in the same circle of friends, like you're in the same group, but like this is not a person that like you would go out of your way to seek, and I think that like you need to kind of come to terms with that. Or, like when we have the World card, I just, like I said, I see it as a completion of a cycle. So like maybe this is a relationship that needs to end this month. Or just like a decision that has to be made. The Cancer feels like someone who's like new, fresh, like someone who's exciting, but they may not necessarily be like the best person for you. So I was just like, I feel like the World, her message is like always to just follow your heart. The Swords here, your head's not getting you anywhere. I think that this is kind of telling you that, like, this is not something that you can rationalize. This is not something you can talk your way through. You can talk your way through a lot, but, like, when it comes to people, you just have to go with your gut. And there is definitely a sense of, like, you have a lot of, like, cards that are just very, just like single people cards, I guess you could say. And like I think it's kind of hard sometimes, like I feel like especially for Geminis, like if you guys are like focused on something, it's really hard to like pull your focus away from it. Like you can kind of like ostrich. I was like doing that because I was thinking about what the bird was called, but like if you're focused on one thing, it's like you have blinders on, and it can be like really hard to pull your focus away from that. And so if like you're focused on work or focused on like a goal or something that you have going on, then like you may not realize that you're stringing two people along because you're like, oh shit, I forgot that like you were still even like worried about me or thinking about me or whatever because I've been so focused on other things. So and that's like the air element, like detachment that can kind of come in. And I feel like that's why sometimes like people like misinterpret Geminis to be, like two-sided or like cold or like, oh, like Geminis, they have like, they're like two different people. No, it's just that like if you hyper focus on things, then like you're gonna forget or like things are gonna fall by the wayside. And then like you're not even gonna, like you're not doing it to be mean or rude or anything like that, but like you just aren't focused on, that aspect of your life right now. And it's like, well, I'm sorry that, like, you're so worried about it, but, like, I'm not. And then it'll just, like, you, like, oscillate back and forth, and then all of a sudden it is what you're focused on. And you're just like, oh, I need to, like, pick up the pieces from the last time, like, where I left it. So, to me, that's what it feels like. I feel like you're kind of floating in limbo, like, a tiny bit. It's weird. I feel like the cards like rapidly like just like totally changed gears halfway through the month. So I think the first month you're like laser focused. Like I feel like you're like, yeah, like let's do this, guys. Like let's focus and invest and like it's me time. Let's invest in me. And then I feel like halfway through February you're gonna get like super distracted and be like, oh my god, like I'm a helpless princess. No offense. Like, oh, I just don't know what I'm even doing and I don't know what I'm doing with my life and I need to like, I have two people who, are vying for my attention and like, I need to figure this shit out. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this plays out. I don't know. Like, I feel like this is kind of like a very short story in a long saga. So, I wouldn't worry too much about it. If anything, it's just going to be fun, or, like, maybe it'll just kind of, like, you just have to, like, iron out the wrinkles of a few relationships that maybe you, like, haven't really felt like dealing with. So nothing like super bad. I'm a little perplexed by the Queen of Wands because she feels like a little like out of place, you know? But I am seeing like a lot of detachment. Okay, so here we have for the Queen of Wands, we have the Moon and Death. So that's really interesting to get two major arcana cards here. Once again, we have like the idea of the end of a cycle, the death, death is kind of bringing about like a change, a rebirth, and the moon is really kind of referring to what is not yet known, what is still deep in your subconscious, what is still under the surface right now. So I really feel like there's changes coming in towards the end of the month for February. I do think that it is going to involve other people. We can see the Death card as a Scorpio. I don't really know, but I mean, it looks like it could be a water sign. I mean, we're like really headed in that direction because we've got the Moon, we've got Cancer, and we got Pisces, or not Pisces, we've got Scorpio. So there's a whole shit ton of water energy going on here. So I think that you guys may definitely be dealing with a water sign. And I think that like whatever it is, Gemini, you guys are not totally ready for it. I think it could be, and I feel like this is focused on the people that are not in relationships right now, so it doesn't feel like the end of a relationship, but I do feel like it's a transition either like into a new relationship, or it could be just a decision to kind of end one part of your life and start something new. So, like I said before, like earlier, possible decision to get married or possibly investing in a wedding. I feel like this is just kind of signaling a change, like, getting engaged. Like, honestly, once you get engaged, it's like you are saying goodbye to being single, and all of a sudden, like, overnight, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to plan a wedding. I'm getting married, da 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 da. Like, your life does change. So I just feel like rapid change is definitely, like, in the books for some of you, and I think a decision is definitely coming up for others. And I just really feel like the moon's message is that, like, if you have no fucking idea what I'm talking about right now, then, like, you're not meant to know it at this point. But I do think that, like, if there's one piece of advice I could give you, it would be, like, just be prepared for the unexpected. And if it feels like it's negative when you get the news, just remember that it's not. Like, it's going to work out for the best. Trust that it's working out for the best. Trust that the universe knows that you are investing in yourself and that you are working hard, and that these choices that you have coming up, they are choices. Even if something happens to you, you always have a choice, and even if it doesn't feel like it. So I think that that's, like, super important, that, like, you can't feel like that you don't have, like, a choice in the matter, that your hands are tied, that, you always have a choice. And at the end of the day, like, you need to kind of welcome this, because that's really what is going to kind of, like, propel you from, like, this waiting game to whatever it is that, like, the unknown, like, what is the next thing that's going to be happening in your life. It could be really exciting. So, I think that that's really it. I'm, like, not really feeling like I need to pull any more cards. I don't know why I'm still shuffling, but let's just find one final signifier card for you guys for this month. Okay, we have the Page of Pentacles. I think that's a really good signifier card. Yeah, and Judgment's on the bottom. Okay. So, yeah, it's interesting because I've never really identified Geminis as, like, you guys really aren't Pentacles people, but I do feel like you're smart. You guys have, like, a ton of, like, mental energy. You guys are very, like, quick, and you are, like, with it, and I think that you whatever it is that kind of gets thrown your way, I think it's going to be sudden. I don't think that you guys, you know, necessarily will have seen it coming, but I think, and that's really honestly what I believe, like, the point of tarot is. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not going to say, oh, you're going to get married or whatever. You're going to have 3 kids. No, what I try to do and what I feel like the purpose of this is to, you know, give you that little bit of preparation, put you kind of on your toes and be like, okay, you know, I'm in alignment right now. I'm doing everything I need to do. The universe is showing me that. And when that unexpected thing does come your way, yes, of course it's going to be surprising still. Yes, it's probably going to be not what you were expecting. You know, in your head right now, you might be like, oh, it's definitely this. It's definitely about this person. And then in 2 weeks, you know, after whatever it does happen, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I was thinking that it was going to be one way. And yes, that surprising thing did happen, but it was in a totally other way. So, you know, that is kind of the beauty of the tarot, is that things happen in this kind of magical way that, like, you never really expect, even when you're prepared. But, you know, it gives you the perspective that you need to handle the situation in the best way possible when it finally does come up. So, and I think, like, if you can really do your best to embody that, you know, page energy, and just, like, be okay with the changes that are going on, and you know, kind of make those decisions that need to be made, then, like, great, you're gonna be okay. I have, like, the worst headache. Oh god. Man. So anyways, so yeah, so, and I feel like this reading is really bringing up a lot of other people. So I do think that this is going to be a month that is very focused on you know, other relationships with other people. Probably most likely a water sign, and you know, that could be love or friendship. And there's an Aries too, but I don't really feel like they have, like, a huge role, I guess you could say.
Okay, Gemini. I have really struggled with getting your video together. It has been a wild ride. I guess it's only fitting that I would need to use 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 different cameras to shoot your video because I've just hit so many roadblocks, but that's okay. I finished your reading and didn't film the last section where I pulled your animal spirit card, and rather than leave you guys without one, I thought I would just, you know, film it again. So here we have Scorpion. That is your animal for the month of February, and this is coming from the Animal Spirit Guidebook. I have raved about it in all of my other videos, and I really do just totally love the wisdom that we kind of get from this deck. So this month, Scorpion is teaching you your lesson. I'm going to just read you the passage, just as kind of a last little message to wrap up the reading. Okay, so Scorpion, passionate, competitive, tends towards isolation. A scorpion is a passionate and determined creature. Their career is important to them, as are a few select friends. Sometimes the scorpion's heat festers, and they focus on an unresolved event from the past, usually a situation where they are left feeling burned. The Scorpion card says it's time to come clean about your feelings so everyone can heal and you can get back to your usual fiery but fun self. When in balance, wild and free and fierce. And it says to bring into balance forgiveness. So yeah, so I think that this card's lesson is really just to not let you know, hurt or anger kind of keep you um, kind of feeling negative, or maybe kind of keep you from having a positive mindset. So I think that that's a really good way to wrap up your reading. I hope you guys like that. I kind of like including them just as a last piece of um, wisdom, and just some like a little lesson to take away for the month. So yeah, that's it. The struggle of the Gemini reading is now coming to an end, but that's totally okay. I wouldn't have it any other way. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Definitely subscribe to my page if you'd like to see next month's reading, and if you'd like a personal reading, I do offer personal readings on my Etsy via Instagram. No, that's not right. I offer personal readings via email or FaceTime. All right, I will see you next month, Gemini.